Assalamu alaikum fam, hope you're doing fantastic. So let's continue our reading of Tirmidhi. Please buy these books, okay? No excuses. They're like $100 and something for a bunch of volumes. Get it, have it in your personal library. It's a great conversation starter. You're like, what are these beautiful books? And they're like, let me tell you about them. Alright, so let's begin. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We're in chapter 41 about what is said after wudu. Umar bin al-Khattab narrated that Allah's Messenger, peace be upon him, said, whoever performs wudu, making wudu well, then says, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, wahhadu la sharika lahu wa ashhadu anna Muhammad abudu wa rasulu Allahumma jal anni mintal tawabin wa jalni minal mutahirin. Okay, and forgive me, I'm still learning pronunciation, so don't make too much fun. I testify that none has the right to be worshipped but Allah alone. There are no partners for him, and I testify that Muhammad is his servant and messenger. O Allah, make me among the repentant and make me among those who purify themselves. Then 8 gates of paradise are opened for him, that he may enter by whichever of them he wishes. Da'if. Abu Isa said, there are narrations on this topic from Anas and Uqba bin Amr. Abu Isa said, Zayd bin Hubab, one of the narrators, has been contradicted in this hadith of Umar. He said, Abdullah bin Saleh and others reported it from Muawiyah bin Saleh, from Rabia bin Yazid, from Abu Idris, from Uqba bin Amir, from Umar, and from Abu Uthman, from Jubair bin Nufair, from Umar. There is incoherence, itrab, in this hadith chain. Not much of the ahadith reported on this topic are authentic. Muhammad said, Abu Idris did not hear anything from Umar. Comments. This narration, just with the wording of the declaration, exists in Sahih Muslim, and the addition of Allahumma majalni minal tawabin wajalni minal mutahirin. O Allah, make me one of those who are repentant in abundance, and make me of those who are clean and pure. This edition is proven authentic. See Urwal ul Galil 1/135 and Al Jami as-Sagir 1/1112. Ooh, those look like those new books we need to get, fam. Chapter 42. On wudu with a mud, which is a proportionate measurement, right? Safina narrated, the Prophet, peace be upon him, would perform wudu with a mud, and he would perform ghusl with a sa. He said, there are narrations on this topic from Aisha, Jabir, and Anas bin Malik. Abu Isa said, this hadith of Safina is Hasan Sahih hadith. Abu Rayna's, one of the narrators' name, is Abdullah bin Matar. Based upon this, some of the people of knowledge hold the view that wudu is performed with a mud and ghusl with a sa. Ash-Shafi Ahmad and Ishaq said, the meaning of this hadith is not to restrict it such that it is not permissible to use more or less than that. It is only to explain that the amount is sufficient. Oh, see that? That's what I love about it. It's like you think that you're on a path, and it's like, no. If you have that amount, it's sufficient. And if you are able to use a little bit more, okay, there you go. Comments. The objective of being careful in the use of water is to avoid the wasteful, extravagant use of water for ablution and bathing. However, according to the consensus, the quantity of water is not fixed. Okay. So if you are in an area that, a drought is not as freaky, well, you're going to be alright. You don't have to Still don't want to waste too much, but, you know. Chapter 43. What has been related about being disliked to be wasteful with water during wudu. Ubay bin Ka'b narrated that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, "Indeed, there is a shaitan for wudu, who is called Al-Walahan. So beware of having misgivings about water." Sahih. He said, there are narrations on this topic from Abdullah bin Amr and Abdullah bin Mughaffal. Abu Isa said, the hadith of Ubay bin Ka'b is Garib hadith. His chain is not strong, and what is correct according to the people of hadith is that we do not know anyone who gave it a chain except Kharija, one of the narrators in this hadith. This hadith has been reported from more than one route from Al-Hasan as his saying, but there is nothing correct on this topic from the Prophet, peace be upon him. Kharija is not reliable according to our companions, and Ibn al-Mubarak graded him weak. Oh boy, he got slammed. He got slammed. Comments. The literal meaning of Al-Walaha is the name of this Satan who casts doubts to a person about water. Sometimes it whispers that all parts are not washed. Sometimes it creates doubt that the part has been washed only once. Sometimes it causes confusion about the purity or impurity of water. Likewise, it urges the use of water extravagantly, and the use of water extravagantly, israf, is not allowed. Okay, so not like buckets and, being crazy. Chapter 44. What has been related about performing wudu for every salah. Anas narrated that the Prophet, peace be upon him, would perform wudu for every salah, whether he was in a state of purity or not, or in a state of purity. Da'if. He said, I asked Anas, what would you do? He said, you would perform wudu. Abu Isa said, the hadith of Humayd from Anas is a Hasan Garib hadith, and from this route. What is popular among the people of hadith is the narration of Amir bin Amr al-Ansari from Anas. Some of the people of knowledge held the view that wudu for every salah is recommended, not obligatory. So most of the time, I usually make sure that I do wudu for every round, for every prayer. So for Maghrib, I try to hold off not breaking wudu till Isha. But definitely, obviously for Fajr and Dhuhr, because a lot of things violate your wudu, and if you're honest. Hence why I don't like to wear a lot of extensive makeup, because all the things that break your wudu, you wash your face with the water till the water drips, it's going to mess up mascara, it's going to mess up your foundation, lipstick, eyeliner, painted eyebrows, and if you have those very long, crazy eyelashes, the glue or something, the eyeshadow is going to get all wet. So I prefer just to have it plain, and I can do wudu anywhere, and then just wipe your face, and then you don't have to look in the mirror and try to fix everything that got all wet and smudged. So definitely try to make sure that I stay in a state of purity as often as possible. Comments. The whole Muslim Ummah is in agreement that in case of being without ablution, making ablution is obligatory. And if one is with the ablution, it is not necessary for him to make ablution again. Several prayers may be performed with this ablution. It has been related in a narration from Ibn Umar that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, whoever performs wudu while in a state of purity, Allah writes for him on the account of it 10 times good merits. Daif. He said, Al-Ifriqi narrated this hadith from Abu Gutayf from Ibn Umar from the Prophet, peace be upon him. Al-Husayn bin Hurayth al-Mawazi narrated that to us. He said, Muhammad bin Yazid al-Wasiti narrated to us from al-Ifriqi, and it is a weak chain. Ali bin al-Madini said, Yahya bin Sa'id al-Katan said, this hadith was mentioned to Hisham bin Urwa, so he said, this chain is from the east. He said, I heard Ahmad bin al-Hasan saying, I heard Ahmad bin Hanbal saying, I have not seen with my eyes anyone who was well versed in the science of hadith like similar to Yahya bin Sa'id al-Katan. Oh, that's a good compliment. And then it says that meaning from the people of the east, and they were people of Al-Kufa and Al-Basra. Oh, there you go. So beneficial. Comments. The chain which the narrators from Hijaz, scholars called it Maghrabi, western chain, and if the narrators of the chain are from Al-Kufa or Al-Basra, it is called Mashraki, eastern chain. And sometimes this word, Mashraki chain, is also used for a weak hadith, because this hadith is from Abdurrahman bin Anam Ifriqi. He is a weak narrator, so it is called a Mashriki chain. Educational, we'll highlight that for us, so very beneficial. Amir bin Amir al-Ansari narrated that he heard Anas bin Malik saying, the Prophet, peace be upon him, would perform wudu for every salah. I said, so what about you? What do you do? He said, we would pray all the prayers with one wudu, as long as we would not committed hadath, anything that invalidates wudu. Sahih. Look at that. So hadath, something that violates your wudu. Abu Isa said, this hadith is Hasan Sahih. The hadith of Humayd from Anas, number 58, is a good hadith, Jayyid, and that is Garib Hasan. Alright, beneficial. So, Maghrabi, western chain. Oh, that's just really cool. Al-Kufa, Basra, Mashraki, eastern. So we got eastern and western chains. Look at that. Very cool. Educational. I hope you learned something.